good afternoon. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of Afternoon Drive Home on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television a couple different ways. Channel 182 on Charter Communications, as well as Abundance TV, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. I got a very special friend with me right now. She probably thinks not so because I've ignored her a lot here lately. Loretta Rodger, and she is with Cove Crafter. She has her own business. She's a crafter from a way back. And I got to tell you something. I was at the Shepherd's Cove thrift shop the other day, and I saw a ton of books on scrapbooking. Were those
really? No,
were those
they were mine.
okay? Because every time I go in there, I almost buy stuff, and I think, no, Loretta probably did that and probably sent that her own self. That's almost happened a couple of times, you know.
Oh, yes. So Merry Christmas a little early.
Merry Christmas.
I'm excited. We did not have Cove Crafters in December. We normally don't anyway, but it was very convenient for me because I had to have that hernia repaired, or however you say that. And I am doing extremely well. I'm actually quite pleased with how, I feel physically, mentally, and all that good stuff. So, yeah.
Well, you got a good hubby, just like I got a good one. We got the best, don't we? And so they're so supportive of us and in a lot of different ways in our lives as well.
Speaking of hubbies, he gives platelets and gives blood and stuff like that on occasion. And we got to talking, and so I made him 4 of the cupcake treats to give as Christmas presents to those ladies. He's like, they loved them. I'm like, I'm so glad. But they're so easy and they're so fun and they're practical. It just makes a great gift. You can make one in less than 5 minutes and have it for the holidays.
There's so many things that we've done at Cove Crafters throughout the year. And it's just been amazing, all the different things that we've been able to do. And I think that's probably been the most memorable, that one right there. And I'll never forget, Loretta said, we're going to make cupcakes. And I'm like, we're baking? How are we going to do that? How are all of us going to create? But we couldn't. You would have made it happen, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yeah.
Fun.
They are. They're practical. Like I said, they're just something that, regardless of your age or your gender, you can use them. I just have to keep reminding people to take them out of the package because they want to leave them in because they're cute in the package too. It's like, it's a gift. Please take it out of the package. And most of the time I have it to where the package, it can be open from the bottom, so they can reuse the packaging as well. So double gift right there.
Absolutely. Let's talk a little. We're talking actually to folks all over the country and all over the world, basically through Abundant TV. So what is Cove Crafters?
Well, Cove Crafters is part of Shepherd's Cove Hospice, a hospice here in Albertville, Alabama. And I was told that before I made the actual group, that there used to be some folks who got together and did a few crafts, but it just didn't last. It wasn't organized. And, so I stepped in and I was like, what can we do to make crafts that are really of great quality and really useful, but still not spend a whole lot of money on them? And so we formed the group. And back then, the director of the Shepherd's Cove Foundation side, her and Jenny Knight came over. Now, Mike was deployed at this time, so you can picture this. And I had this really, really nice young woman in the house who was painting. And so all of the furniture in this house was shoved into the middle of the floor. It was a hot mess. And so I took him, so I took him through some of the ideas of what I thought could be done. And then we had another really formal meeting just to kind of do paperwork so that both Shepherd's Cove Hospice and myself were both covered from a legality standpoint. And so ever since then, we've had Cove Crafters. Our very first meeting was in June of 2017. So we're going to be coming up on 5 years as a group this in 2023. So we do make anywhere from 80 to 120 to 150 now gifts for our patients and their families. Those gifts, once they're made at Cove Crafters during Craft Club night, go into a different room. Those are then sorted by our other volunteers, and they're given what I call a face sheet. And then the volunteers who go out and sit with patients and run errands or whatever they do, deliver those gifts to their patients. So it's a really, really fun way to get to know other people, learn some new crafty things, and just have a really good time.
Well, I wanted to say this. I love crafting. I mean, it's been one of my getaways, through my entire life, just making things. And you can kind of just like be in your own little world and get away from issues or troubles and stuff like that, So I love it. But I wanted to mention this about Cove Crafters is if you're a Martha Stewart type and you just know how to do all kinds of things, you're not going to be bored going there. And then if you've never done a craft before in your entire life, you're also going to be amazed. It's just a fun group.
It is. And I try to keep it to where, regardless of that skill level, because I never know who's really going to come. I do have a core group that's pretty stable, that they come pretty much all the time if they're able. And then I have a few that's, kind of straggle in and straggle back out, and I welcome everyone. I often tease folks. They're like, "Oh, I'm not that crafty." If you can turn on a light switch, you qualify for Cove Crafters. You just have to have a willing heart. But Mike and I make a PowerPoint presentation or a video before the actual Cove Crafters event. So after we have a nice meal provided by Santa Fe Cattle Company, free. Everything's free. I want to point that out. Doesn't cost you anything except a little.
It is good. It's very good.
There's your Santa Fe Cattle Company logo right there. And so once we eat and maybe take a few prayer requests, take care of any business, we start the craft. But I do go ahead and get the video up onto the big screen there in the community room. And so it loops the whole time. So if you get to talking,
which I do,
then you're still good to go. So you won't miss anything. So I love that. I love that part of the group because it frees me up to be one-on-one. If you're falling a little behind or you're just not quite sure you understand something, then I can make sure you get what you need.
Let's talk about the different things that you have put out there, for us every month. So many really neat things. How do you come up with all these ideas?
Well, it's kind of a variety of things for my ideas. A lot of them through the last, I'd say, year and a half have actually come from either Pinterest or they are items that I have made for upcoming craft fairs. I am going to be, I hope, if I get accepted, I'm going to be doing the craft fair in Gadsden. It's something at the falls. I can't remember what it's called. And that's in April. So if I can make it easily and inexpensively and it still looks really nice, then it's definitely something that I could probably transform, if you will, tweak a little bit so that the group can make them for our patients and their families. Mm-hmm. Some of my favorites are actually really, really simple, like a little notebook that we've covered or decorated or notepad holders, that kind of thing. Those are my personal favorites because I like to use them as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're a scrapbooker. You do a lot of stuff. You make jewelry, candles, soaps, you do all this stuff too. So which one of if you had to only pick one craft, what would it be? What's your passion? I know all the above, but which one do you think?
Well, paper craft in general is kind of a blanket term, but if I had to choose, I would primarily be a stamper. I'm a stamper at heart. I love rubber stamps and ink and all that good stuff. But I would, if I couldn't do anything else, I would stamp.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I love you need to. I mean, your craft room. You're in it right now. Your craft room is. I wish mine could look that good. I mean, you
Well,
got everything. Yes, organized and everything else. I mean, how do you keep yourself organized? A lot of folks, have home businesses. They make crafts and soaps or jewelry and stuff like that, but they can't find anything. They spend most of their time looking for things. I'm actually talking to myself. So they spend most of their time trying to find things. How can you stay organized when you're a crafter?
Well, I will tell you the truth that for the last 5 or 6 weeks, this craft room looked like a bomb hit it. I mean, there's stuff on the floor, there's stuff on the, yeah, it was everywhere. So while I've been recovering from my hernia
You got an
repair surgery,
excuse. I don't have an excuse. You got an excuse.
well, I can sit and sort things out and go through them. So I've been able to do just that. And so you just really have to make yourself get in the habit of putting things away as you go along. Because if you don't, then you really can't find anything, even though you know that it should be in drawer, over there on the other side of the room. It's not because you didn't take that 2 seconds to put it up, and that's one of my really bad habits is just remembering kind of clean as you go. Pick up your toys before you go home.
Well, Phil had a craft room built for me. We bought my grandparents' old farmhouse, and so my studio and my craft room is the same room. And so it used to be the carport. And so, when COVID hit, I've got asthma. So I was working not as an employee, but I was working as a individual contractor for a radio station. So the lady who owned the radio station said, I don't want you getting COVID on my watch. And she said, I want you to start doing your show from the house. So Phil had this built for me. And it looks really good. I got a green screen behind me, but now I'm looking around. It don't look so hot the rest of the room because I've been making stuff for Christmas presents and all this stuff. So, I mean, how do you separate it?
Well, most of the time, Cove Crafters has to come first. So until everything is ready to go for Cove Crafters, nothing else gets done. It's just the nature of the business in this case. It can take me anywhere from 40 to 120 hours a month to get everything ready.
Yeah.
For example, we did a birdhouse Christmas ornament in November, which is the gift that's actually going out now to our patients. That one took almost 140 hours to get it ready for Cove Crafters because birdhouses have to be sanded and then they have to be painted and they have to be sanded again and then painted again and all this. There's lots of small steps that go into it, and then by the time you guys get there, then the trim and the decorations for that little birdhouse are in a small bag. So I give a bag out that has enough of the materials to make 5 of that project, so that whether you're new or you're experienced, you can start with that 5. And if you can do more than 5, awesome. I really hope you can. But if you can't, then that's okay too. But then you've got the materials. There's no question about what you need to do that project.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll tell you what's hilarious is I saw Mike was coming to you to these classes, and I started seeing a few other men filter in, and so I told Phil, I said, Phil, this will be something awesome because you like giving. Phil loves giving back to the community. And I said, so this would be another great way you can give back to the community, and it's something you and I can hang out and do together. The problem is, it probably drives you crazy, Loretta, is we get competitive with each other.
It is kind of fun to watch you guys. It's like he'll have his little stack of finished projects and he'll be looking over at you going,
he's ahead of me. And then I start going
But it's such a help. I know that we've mentioned this on the show other times, but one of my other things with Cove Crafters is there's a lot. And sometimes the things that we bring in to do are heavy, and they need to be picked up by a gentleman. Our ladies, including me, or you, don't need to be picking up heavy stuff. And I carry 2 large rolling carts. They're the same as, the husbands use in their garages or their toolboxes. But mine, of course, are filled with craft stuff. So glue guns and heat tools and scissors and all that stuff are in these two kits, and they're labeled so everybody knows where to put them. But I am so thankful that our gentlemen are there to help put things back in those kits, and if I need them, to carry them out to my car.
Absolutely. So, Loretta, we've got to go into a commercial break. Half the show is already gone. So let's go into this commercial break. We're going to be back in just a few minutes. Y'all hang in there.
Shepherd's Cove Thrift Shop, located on Highway 431 in Albertville, is a large store that is restocked weekly with new and gently used items donated by our community. When you shop at the Hospice of Marshall County Thrift Shop, you not only get great deals, but you also help neighbors and friends receive the end-of-life services they desperately need. Hospice of Marshall County is a non-profit United Way agency, and we depend on the generosity of those in our community to continue providing expert care to all, regardless of ability to pay. We accept donations during regular business hours 9 to 5 p.m. Tuesday through Saturday. For more information about our community events and volunteer opportunities, please call 256-582-3325. Thank you for your support of Shepherd's Cove. The Hatter Cafe and Country Inn is nestled in the northeast corner of Alabama the Beautiful in the delightful town of Mentone. We're located on top of scenic Lookout Mountain near Little River and DeSoto State Park and located only 5 minutes from shopping and restaurants. There is also a nearby community walking path and golf course. We welcome everyone through the doors, and we are committed to outstanding service for all guests. At the Hatter Cafe and Country Inn, we invite people from all walks of life to come and get away from it all, enjoy the open spaces, treetop views, fresh, clean air, and experience Southern hospitality at its finest. We look forward to hosting you. To reserve a special event, or if you would love a special getaway at the Country Inn, you can call us at 256-634-2018.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and my employees and I want to thank each and every one of you for your continued support. With everything going on right now, your rest is so important. That's why we're having the biggest MyPillow sale ever. Not only are my bed pillows as low as $19.98, but you can get the best body pillows ever. Regular $89.98, now only $29.98. Take your rest on the go with our Roll and Go Anywhere My Pillows for only $14.98. And we have our new couch and accent pillows. They aren't just for looks. They have MyPillow's patented adjustable fill that gives you that amazing MyPillow comfort. In this economy, you get the best gifts ever for the best prices ever. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code and you get deep discounts on body, couch, bolster pillows, and so much more, including my original bed pillows for as low as $19.98. Please order now while quantities last.
Let Rhonda at Rhonda's Elite Tax LLC take the burden off you for all your tax needs. I know because Rhonda has been taking care of my business since 2013. I feel Rhonda works for me because she knows the direct questions to ask to better benefit my unique business in order for me to get back the biggest refund possible. Rhonda is an ongoing student, and she knows tax laws are in a constant change every year. Call 256-281-9903 for an appointment to take the dread out of getting your taxes done. Rhonda is located at 11968 U.S. Highway 431 in Boaz. Again, that number is 256-281-9903. And let Rhonda's Elite Tax LLC champion your personal and business taxes.
Hey, Loretta, that was a break.
It was. It was indeed.
So
I kind of needed it.
Yeah, we do. I'm going to tell you what. But I appreciate you coming in with me today and talking about Cove Crafters and also Shepherd's Cove. Shepherd's Cove has been a huge part of our our area, part of the community for a really long time.
They have been. We've been serving families for a very long time, and I hope that that's always the case. People do pass away, and that end of life journey is just as important to celebrate and enjoy as it is that beginning of life journey. And I think people don't necessarily see it that way.
Mm-hmm. Well, something, there are also lots of opportunities where, you can come in and let's say you're new to the area. And I've mentioned this to you several times. Albertville is growing like gangbusters. Every time I come by, there's a new building. As a matter of fact, where the thrift shop is now, this awesome, great big, huge movie theater is out there. Is it open yet?
Right across the street. Yes,
Yeah.
It is open.
I
have not been yet, but it is open.
I got to see what that thing looks like. I would imagine it's magnificent.
I have heard that it actually is has a heated seats and all that good stuff as part of the attraction of the movie theater. But yeah,
Heated
Shepherd's
seats
Cove Hospice.
for this time of the year, heated seats are really welcome. They most certainly are.
Indeed.
But if you're looking for an opportunity to help in the community, this would be a great way to do it. If you've just moved into the area and you don't know anyone, this is just so full of opportunities to be able to help out at Shepherd's Cove.
There are, and whether or not your talent is crafting, which is my passion, maybe you actually are one of these people who love to make phone calls. There's always clerical type of work to be done, whether that's helping with the billing, paying bills and stuff like that, whether it's making phone calls, writing letters, encouraging folks. There's also other things, like if you're a gardener, because I know that you are, then you can go out to a patient's home and help them with their garden, or maybe they just need their grass mowed. And, as that patient, it progresses, then maybe they need somebody to just come and sit with the patient in their home, which is something I've been able to do a lot in the last 5 years. And it's such a blessing. You get to know so many people, and you get to see this side of humanity that is just so very precious, very precious.
Absolutely. Again, if you're new to the community, we were new to Charlotte, North Carolina one time, several years ago, lived there for about 9 years. And when you're new to a community, it's hard to get in with, is this who you know, especially in a smaller town. And this way you're going to make the cream of the crop in the community.
Indeed you are. And it's a really great place, especially if you are, looking for a career. There's plenty of opportunities right here in Albertville. Come to an event like Cove Crafters, get to know some people. You never know who knows who kind of deal.
That's true.
Next thing you know, you have yourself a really good job.
Absolutely. Just another stepping stone there. Let's talk about Cove Crafters. What are we in for this coming year?
Oh my goodness. Where do I start with that one? Our next project, which will be January 9th, I think, somewhere in there, second Thursday of the month again. We're going to make a small grapevine wreath for Valentine's Day. It's not really necessarily Valentine's Day. It's just got the colors from Valentine's Day. And that one should be pretty easy. I have a couple of ladies who are cutting some of the parts for it. We are going to be making our own flowers for some of it. So 4 of the flowers on this wreath will be made by, one of the large flower will be made by the group. The others are being made by some of the ladies that come to our group. But it should be pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Then I really haven't decided what we're going to do in March, April, or May, but those are all usually, with the springtime, they're pretty easy to find something that kind of span those few months. Of course, then when you get into June, actually May, we would do something patriotic, or June, we can do patriotic. So, the sky's the limit. I have a couple of ideas. I'm just not sure whether or not they would be straightforward enough or easy enough for the group as a whole to tackle. But we shall see. So you got to come to Cove Craft just to find out what we're going to do next.
Absolutely, you do. About 4 minutes left in this segment. And I wanted to mention Shepherd's Cove again. And we've talked about opportunities where you can serve. And if you would like to volunteer, it's a great thing to do. Almost every single time you're on the phone and we start talking about those opportunities, folks will ask, if I'm laid off from a job, is that going to affect my job? And your answer to that is no. You can still serve, you can volunteer, and draw your unemployment at the same time.
And the great thing about that is that, especially when you're new to the community, you're just looking for a job. Nothing is going to scream, I am part of this community and want to be oriented into this community like being a volunteer, because that shows that you have that love and passion for your community. So I think that it would just kind of be the cat's meow, so to speak, on that resume, that you've got those volunteer hours in to help others. Shows you're not selfish.
That's true. But I wanted to mention another thing too about Shepherd's Cove, and that's not only do they serve the patients, they serve the family of the patient as well. So you guys are always looking for ways to help the patients' families.
Absolutely. That's where I was saying just a little bit ago, we do have a lot of volunteers who go into the home of our patients and just sit with the patients. There are times when the patient wants you like right at their bedside holding their hands. And then there's others where when you come into the home, the patient's asleep. And if that happens, I always have a book, some headphones or whatever, so that I can still keep an eye on my patient without disturbing them, because rest is so important. I know of some other caregivers who just come in and stay with the patient while their loved one takes a nap or takes a bath. Something that they want to do. Maybe it's their birthday and they want to go out to lunch with their friends. All of those are so very important.
Absolutely. Because you got to have some rest so you can, look out for your loved one as well. Okay, about a little bit under 2 minutes left in the segment. So we've got an old year about to close and a brand new one coming up. What advice would you have? Do you have something that you would like to share with the folks before you go?
My best advice is to stay well and serve the Lord.
That's advice, right?
If you want to have a happy life and you really want to find some reward in your day-to-day existence, there is nothing greater than to be a believer in Christ. Nothing.
Yeah. And share that and be a servant to other people too. I mean, that goes a long way. And I found you can outgive. It's like, first of all, you're creating friendships, like we mentioned that earlier in the show. You're creating a lot of friendships. It's just a thing to do.
It is. And, the more you give, the more you give back. I have had it so many times that I can't even, not just with Cove Crafters, but in my own life. But if you stop and help someone, or you give to them just that little bit, then the benefits that are going to come back around are tenfold anything that we could expect.
Loretta, we're going to have to go. Thank you so much for being on the show. It's always a pleasure.
Yes, ma'am. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. You take care. We're going to be back in just a few minutes with another awesome guest. So you hang around, okay?